clear that little screen out of your way, and let's get to it. Moment of sitting, central line. Ease, softness, and relaxed sort of feel. And just notice that at first, it feels less stable when you relax the body, right? So when we're accustomed to holding ourselves up with physical tension, grabbing, right? Holding on to our bodies with tension, then when you relax, it feels less stable at first. So that's a lot of times why we go back to our tense place, because we go, no, this is my known quality of grabbing onto my body when I'm standing or walking or sitting. And so that's why it's good to practice sitting exercise and get that quality of softness and feel how there's sort of a loose, right? The hips, you can kind of rock to one butt cheek, rock to the other. 24 vertebra can move, right? You're softening. Just make sure everyone's muted here. So remember that when we stand up, that the practice of Tai Chi is exploring that seemingly less stable, less supported state of soft, and then getting accustomed to it and relaxed into that space, and then coming to rely upon that loose quality, right? You can see just how I'm moving my body now. The only reason that I can do that is because of the softening of the spaces between. And then I can, I feel that space, and it's very easy. But before, that space doesn't exist. And so that's why we do what we do, our movement practices, to open these spaces up. And it's sort of backwards. It feels like you're becoming less stable when you soften. So that's why we resist it. That's why we don't go into it. But getting comfortable in that softness is important. So we got our vertical line, and then everything around the vertical line, easy, loose. Natural breathing, in the nose, out the nose, or the mouth. We'll just take 8 to 10 breath cycles here. Remember that just this practice alone, first thing when you get out of bed, I know that's my practice. You wake up, you sit at the edge of your bed, and before you try to do anything, you find this quality, this relationship between brain, nervous system, body. And I'm sure that that would help with whatever you're dealing with in Parkinson's, right? There's no way that hurts a situation. Just finding that ease. Now, our first movement, sliding hands forward, drop the head gently, rounding back. Sliding the hands back, elbows back, lift the chest, right? Just our customary starting movements just to get everything sliding through the spaces. And the goal, once you've learned the movement, is then play with, can you release that tension, and can you practice doing this more like an octopus, more like this sliding and writhing and wriggling of tentacles rather than by force. And you'll find your body actually complies more easily when you take that edge off. Find the middle and go right into the rotations. One hand forward, one hand and elbow back. Just turn gently, don't force it. And reverse. Let's do this a few times. Range of motion, not as important as this quality of like an octopus, like liquid. So don't focus on how far can you turn. Focus on, is the movement smooth like reeling silk? Is it soft and liquid? Do you feel that liquid quality through the body? Back to the neutral. Hang the arms. Lean. And back up. This is a really great one for getting us out of top heaviness. So when you let everything sink down to the middle, you realize you can really let yourself kind of lean. And this is important when you're out and about. When you're walking on a trail and you sort of lose your balance a little bit, but because you're limber, you don't ever lose your middle. You don't lose your center. The stiffer you are, the more I fall out of my chair. The looser I am, the more shape I can create without actually losing this stable pivot. Back to middle. Shoulder blades. We'll go right into the circles. Shoulders forward, up, back, down. Just a few times. Unbuckling these scapula, which are actually the most complicated joint and structure in the body. And many people don't even know how to really use them, right? Let's go ahead and reverse that. But they're complicated because they have many, many muscles tying in, and they tie into the spine, to the rib cage, to the arm, to the neck, to the skull. And so they can be a big problem. So we want to keep them limber, loose. And the tighter they are, the more top heavy we feel. And back to neutral. Bend the elbows, bring the hands up, chicken wing. And down, and then in front. And down, out and up, down. Just loose and easy. Down, now go back, down, forward, up, down, back, down. So again, just keep in mind, why are we doing this? For this particular purpose, we're unbuckling and opening up. Let's go ahead, elbows out to the side. Our upper body that tends to hold tension. Go ahead, hug, open, close, open, close. So this upper area needs to be feeling emptier, looser, more pliable, rather than stiff and rigid. Drop the hands. And here, now we do this circle. So one crosses over the other. There's this sort of cross here. They lift and then out and down. So closing, stay closed, opening, stay open, close, stay closed, open, stay open, close, stay closed, and then open. Now this one's a little trickier. Forward, down, back, from the back position, out, up over the fists, sort of tuck in near the armpits, and then they come down, back, out, up, over the top with the elbow tips leading the way. So think from the elbows. and move from the elbows. And when you do that in this folded arm position, when we're folded here, it pulls out deep taffy and junk in the middle back, upper back, chest. Right, so we're really opening up our shoulder wells and these spaces in here, which are very important. And then release down, shogun, closing. So that's all the cultivation we'll do in the upper body. Let's just do our basic lower body. Scoot back as much as needed so you feel very stable. Chamber and push. Chamber and push. And we'll just repeat about 5 or 6 on this leg. So just trying to get that like a sponge, the tissues to compress and release, or like an accordion, right? And doing it with softness, with looseness, with ease. And switch. Loose, but thorough. Out, back, out. There's a big thing with Parkinson's is truncated movement. As I've talked about, it'll often be just like in this little range, people will move their leg, and you really need to apply the intent, the will, to finish, 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 finish. One more. And down. Now softly extend one foot, point and flex. Invert, evert. Circle. Reverse. And down. Other side, point and flex. Invert, evert. Circle. And reverse. Down. Scoot forward to the very, very edge. Swivel steps. Toe out, knee out. Heel out, knee in. Toe out, knee out. Heel out, knee in. One more. Open. Walk it in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Feel that space where the leg bone is moving in the hip socket freely. Loose. This side. 1, 2, 3, 4. And hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Once more. And hold. Walk it in. Double. 1, 2, and 3. Back in. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, and neutral. Forward folds. Hinge. Slide the hands down. Release. Come up. Lift the chest. So this is that forward fold exercise, but we're practicing the waving, loose quality in the spine. So a little bit of a chest lift, chin lift as you fold. And then as you slide your hands down, let your spine gently round. Round. Keep it rounded as you come up, dragging your hands up the legs. And as you get to the top, then lift the chest and gently arch. And then bowing forward and softly round. So this is called shaking loose the heavenly pillar. So you want to get to the point where you can create a gentle undulation, chain-like, almost snake-like movement through all 24 vertebrae, and feel that you can create that without any tension, without force. It's this liquid quality that waves the body. So now we're up and shogun, close. So if you just think about for a moment as we're getting ready to stand up, what did we just give ourselves an opportunity to cultivate? Space between. Space between the shoulder joint, the scapula, the arms, the tissue layers. So ideally you're feeling loose in the hips, down through the knees, ankles, feet, and keep that idea as we go to stand up and sit down. Don't resist the urge to tense up in a sort of safety mechanism like I was discussing at the beginning. Challenge yourself to be soft, stay soft, rely upon softness, retain that, and put the work onto the softness. And then when you go down, same thing. Speed is not your friend because it means we sort of rushed it. If you practice soft and smooth, then the word is swift. You will find an ability to be swift, but you can't rush it. You have to just make sure you can actually execute all the movements without relying upon muscle tension, gripping, holding, forcing. You have to unlearn that. And then the movements start to have buttery, smooth quality. And then swiftness becomes available over time. Last one. And stay standing. Stand there for a little bit. Notice where in your body is trying to grab on. Maybe it's locking the knees, maybe it's somewhere in the neck and shoulders. Right, where do you tend to grab on? Maybe you're jutting into your hip or you're pushing your butt out, which is a way that we lock into our lower back. Got to keep that tail down. We got to let the knees be soft, right? To put the work onto the softness. And it's not easy until it becomes easy. Now, in the feet, let yourself just softly tilt forward into the toes. And then softly tilt back towards the heel. The key to doing this is that this is your middle, not up here. So we're not doing this and doing this. We're doing this and this, right? And that's how you can shift forward and actually have your heels be free of the floor because your middle's still intact, and how you can get back to your heels and even pull the toes up. Be careful with that. But that's how that's possible, is because my middle, right, is arranging itself correctly. Now, add the little pendulum swing. Pendulum swing. Feel the space in the shoulder well. And the loose, spacious quality is what allows for the freedom of the arms. Not force, not tension, not effort. The opposite, right? Now rock back, stay back, open the shoulder wells. The hands just float up. Tip forward, the hands wrap around, the shoulder wells close. So this kind of pumps the chi through the spaces. At least that's the storyline, right? Rock back, the hands naturally come back. So there's a closing of the springiness of the arms here. Then rock to the middle, everything consolidates and settles to that middle point between navel and low back and down the middle of the body. And then open up the courtyard by the tail just going back a little bit, and then sit the tush, arms softly straight. Push through the earth, vertical. You're in the middle, from the middle, tipping gently back, tipping gently forward, tipping gently back, settling, consolidating, and then just letting everything go through. And then as you rise back up, awareness is right in the middle of the middle of the middle. Softer still. Rock. Rock. So this movement, when you place the work of the movement on the soft layer, on the liquid, and you make that your challenge, then you're doing qi gong, because you're making the qi do the work rather than your muscle tension. And so seemingly simple, you know, you might say unimpressive physical movements that you find in Qigong and Tai Chi suddenly become pretty amazing work, because you're learning to master controlling the body differently. Shogun, or closing gesture. Consolidate, settle. Keep that feeling of openness through the feet, the ankles, the knees, the hips, all the spine, shoulder blades, arms, everything to the fingertips, all the way down to the crown, just everything open. Keep that quality. Hands cross and come down. Weight goes through the right leg, softly tipping a little bit that way as you let this marionette float up, the wrist float up. And then the weight goes through the left leg as the left arm reaches, the right wrist floats up, loose and loose. In the beginning, you might only be able to do 80-20, where you're 80% in one, but you still feel like you're in the other leg a little bit, and that's fine. That's getting the mechanism going. But over time, you'll get so through that you can actually challenge yourself each time with almost like a little, I won't say a kick, but it's like just a little flick out of the toe. So you come down, and once it's empty, it just flicks out. It's kind of like a little test. Change. Once it actually is empty, it goes out with only the chi control. Whereas a lot of times when people see me do this, they go, oh, I have to pick my foot up with force. No, it's just loose. Loose. So that little test, are you in fact emptying that foot? Now, same idea, add the wheel. So the top hand goes forward as the bottom hand scoops under. Bottom hand comes up to tickle the armpit as that top hand goes down the front. And then wheel, wheel, wheel. Make sure you're going through the leg of the hand that's going down. Through the leg, and you can add that little flick. Wheel, left, right, wheel. Remember the octopus. Slower is better because it allows you to go. So find the perfect slowness that isn't stagnant. It's kind of easy to just fling the body around, but go slow enough. Now reverse the wheel. The hand goes down the back, under. The hand that's up comes under like you're tickling your armpit and goes down the back. Down. Changing the leg, maybe that little flick. Flick. Find the internal mechanism where all of this is controlled in this space here. And left, right, pressing palm. This hand is high through the heel of the hand. So see that change there, that change. So as that presses, this hand rises loose as can be. And then this hand does that little change through the heel of the hand, pressing straight down along the side of the body. And then straight down. Find the change of leg each time. Down. 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 So we're working the chi by doing this soft, soft, soft. Both hands down. Shogun, that closes that little family of movements, that little module. Hands settle right at the middle. Be here, consolidate. Be more at ease, more soft. more settled. And then hands come down. Fingertips touch, hands float up in front, open, close. As you open, shift to your right leg. So go be in your right leg. As you close, go into your left leg. So I'm going into my left, you make sure you're going into your left, which is that way. Right. Left, opening and closing the three basin. Keep a feeling of long through the fingertips. That doesn't mean we're locking the joints. It just means we're not stuck in like this, but we're not locked out there. So there's this extension. So that's what I call Tai Chi straight. It's straight, but it's Tai Chi straight, not locked and forced. And then final couple ones here, notice the opportunity for that liquid is when they're going out, there's a roundness in this shape, but I don't come back in that same roundness. They finish out through the fingertips and they come back. So there's this liquid. It's kind of like, they talk about this like a fish tail, right? So open, close. So you really want to feel that quality. And it's not just because it looks kind of cool and pretty. It's because that actually is how the nervous system and tissue want to relate best. Same quality, hands come down in front of the middle section, which is sternum to belly button. Open like a ball expanding, and then softly close like a ball coming towards each other. Open, close. Open, make sure you're going into your right leg as you open, your right leg. Close as you go into your left leg. Open, ball expanding, close. A few more. That same looseness. Just keep your eye out for where are you using your old way, tension, to make the movement. And where can you soften that and practice not using it and use the other system. Got to get accustomed to that system. And finally, the lower section, navel and perineum, so basically crotch area, swinging out and up and open, and then back. Shifting to your right as you open, left as you close. Couple more. This is practicing opening up the medium of the body. So that it's more like a liquid medium that starch and density can pass through. And stay at the middle. Shogun, closing gesture. Now, this next exercise comes from the animal frolic. Bring your heels together, toes slightly out. Fingertips towards each other, drop them down, but keep the roundness. This is from the crane. Hands rise up just below the sternum. And as they settle, the knees softly bend open. This practice is for the pung energy, the rising quality. So the rise is the sort of emphasis. Yeah. Rise. Yeah. Rise. So that floaty quality, that rising quality, sort of anti-gravity. One more. Now the same foot position, but now wings go out as you straighten up. Weight goes more into the right leg as you softly press down the wings just alongside you and empty out this leg. Stay in this leg as you rise again and come across to the other leg. Down. Rise. Change leg. Rise. You're getting this buoyant, and we're practicing going through and feeling that springiness from letting our body weight go through. Last one to each side. And middle. Step your feet wider than normal. The bear. Now the palms face down. The bear is all about on. So on is the soft medium of the body and then sinking through. So it's kind of like pressing down, but it's not with force. But what it is that quality of, I think the best description is, go ahead and let yourself come back up, is like when you're in a bathtub and you pull the plug and there's that downward suctioning. So open the medium of your tissues and your liquid and feel that downward quality. Rise back up. So this is on, down, through the tissues. And this is key for connecting to the earth, staying rooted. And it's open, kind of like you're pressing, but you're not pressing with force. But it has that same effect if you use it athletically or in a martial arts scenario. If you have this on energy, someone grabs on and you can you sink straight down to the earth. Right? And so we need that energy to be very functional. The bear. Last one. And show. And final little module that we'll do before Tai Chi. Proper Tai Chi. Arms hang. One arm swings forward, the other swings back. The arm that's back, empty that leg. So that leg is empty. And then you change. So the arms swing and you go into that leg. And you swing and change. Shoom, shoom. So find the middle. And you can also have that little kick thing that I was talking about with the leg. When you start to get comfortable with it, you're going through one, so this one's empty, and then and there's a bounce to it, not anything too forceful, but it's just a springiness. So we're practicing springy tissue. And again, like a medium, like water is a medium that if you drop a stone through, it doesn't just drop right away. It slowly moves through it, but it does move through it. So we're getting ourselves to have that. And come to stillness. And then ringing the temple bell. One here, the other around the back. So loose that just by letting the arms go where they go, the body turns and smack, smack, smack. So usually what I see in the beginning is this. People are holding, and then you say, oh, I can be a noodle, truly loose. And I want to add one. We've done this for a while. I want to add an opportunity here. So step your feet a little wider apart. Now, when you turn, swivel and wrap. And then you come back super slow. So what we're adding is rotation on the hip socket and turning of the leg bone in this hip socket. And then, so if that bothers your back, your hip, or your balance, go back to the first version. This one eventually can get wider stance so that you're almost turning into a side lunge. Side lunge, and the arms will start to travel a little higher when they go around and smack a little higher on the bottom. So you'll start smacking kidneys in the back, liver and spleen in the front. And the body does like sonic booms, boom. And then slowly back to neutral. Just feel the buzz from that. Bend the elbows, hands come up, softly touch the shoulders. Hands go out, swing. Back up. Swing. So this is one we're kind of accustomed to, and we've been adding to this one. So now watch what I do one time, just watch. As my arms swing down, I do just the lightest amount of butt back and knee bend. So it's kind of like I'm getting ready to jump up onto this table. I kind of sink down and then up. So let's all do that. Now, watch what I do here. I'm not going to come back to this position. I stay slightly in this fold, and you notice there's a little bit of that, very light. Do not bother your knees by pushing into them or anything, but we go boing, boing. And it's kind of like cross-country skiing. You're going shoo, shoo, and there's this throwing down, throwing down, throwing, throwing. And it's a downward throw rather than I'm bringing my arms up. Loose. And we're staying slightly stooped. And last one, come up. Settle. Shovel. Settle to the middle. Feel all that activated, excited energy. Settle to the middle. So you want to get accustomed to that, letting it out, bringing it in, letting it out, bringing it in. And Tai Chi. Rock back a little, soft pendulum. Forward a little, soft pendulum. Back. Pung, or rising energy, right? Kind of that energy of the crane, but now we're letting it transfer through the arms here. Then rock back and slide back. Hands settle just a little. Rock forward. This is G energy, or forward. Palms turn to face. Hands come down slightly, under and behind, up to the tickle of armpit. Wrists stay folded as you rock forward and exude and push out through the back of the hands. And then palms flatten, blue, pung, slide back and settle. And now on, that bear energy of sinking through the medium. And then tail sneaks back, sung, soft, loose. And then push through the earth, come back to middle. Rock a little forward, swing hands forward, rock a little back. They swing back. Pung, rising. Slide back and settle. G. Turn the palms, they come down the far side of a circle, under a circle, up the back of a circle, out over the top of a circle. And then Lu. And Pung. Rock back, slide back, settle. And then on is in the middle. So you're in the middle of the feet, middle, sinking through the medium, and then sink. Let's do that a couple more times with one additional awareness of the opposition. So as the hands swing forward, there's that Ming Men, or that middle of you, staying back. Rock back, but if we kept going too far back, we'd fall back. So that same area goes a little forward. So when we rock back, we're going forward. When we rock forward, we're going back a little bit in a place in the middle. Same idea, rock forward, but that Mingmen sort of stays back as the arms float up. And then as you rock back, that part of you in the middle goes a little forward to keep us balanced. As you rock forward, that part of your middle stays back. As the hands come down, we rock back, but that part of your middle stays somewhat forward. It's always just counterbalancing. As you exude forward, that part of you in the middle stays back. Sweep down. Again, as this goes forward, there's part of you that stays back. That's how you cultivate your middle. That's how these movements help reveal the middle. And then we're in the middle, down, son. Let's do that one more time. As you rock a little forward, the middle stays back. As you rock back, the middle stays forward. Pung. Middle stays back as there's a rise. Stays a little forward as everything comes back. Stays back. Stays back. Stays a little forward. Stays back. A little forward. So what this eventually gives us the feeling of is that you can execute these movements without it being so overt, right? Like in the beginning, I'm having us really rock in the feet, but eventually it's small. So let's do one more round where you get that feeling, where the middle of you is where you're operating from. Rocking a little forward, but one stays back. And then the middle stays back. Right, that middle stays back as you exude forward. The middle comes forward a little. So now it's internal. It's this internal mechanism. And so you might be looking on the outside saying, oh, he's not doing those rocks anymore, but they're happening on the interior. Bear, washing, pause. Same idea. As we're turning, there's part that's staying middle, yet letting everything go. Part that stays in the middle, but let everything go. Remember this bear idea that we've been talking about is that each one is different than the one before it, because you're opening these spiral pathways. So then eventually this arm is really starting to float. And so it becomes the bear swirling the stream. Swirling. Swirling. And it becomes the bear snatching the low jumping fish, just because the arm is traveling that way now. The palm facing the direction it's going. The higher jumping fish. Highest jumping fish. Again, remember the bear, clumsy on the outside. Ooh, sort of lumbering movements, but on the inside it's nimble and strong. Come back down, wash the paws, start small, and grow again. Wash, wash. Let them grow round by round, eventually swirling the stream. Low jumping fish. A little bit higher. A little higher. Higher still. So it has sort of an over the top quality. Over the top. Loose, open spaces between the joints. Now, more sophisticated movement. Brush, knee, and push. So wing. Roll, fold, This is dipped into the water. This is empty. Shift, turn, brush, push. One down, one up. Roll, fold. Moving the spaces between. Spaces between. The softness and open spaces allow the movement to be efficient while doing so little. Because we're so relaxed that the body's moving as a total, as a whole. Looks really nice, everyone. Really, really nice. Keep an eye on the teacup, but don't let that make you stiff. So just think of the teacup more as an idea of the middle having a stillness, even though you're moving through space, changing leg to leg. There's a stillness. Now, next time you're in the left leg, stay there. Bend left elbow, point left fingertips up. Right hand drops down. Step right foot back a little with the foot turned out, golden rooster. So the weight goes through, just like our crane exercise that we were doing, goes through. And this foot is empty, like that little flick thing we were doing. And it's just light, empty, right? And then we bring that foot back. We land it empty with toes turned slightly out, change the weight. So let it go through the medium, like a stone falling through a pond. Your weight goes through, and this foot is light. Bring that foot back, keep it light, but land it so it's ready, and then let the weight go shoo, through. And this foot pops out. Step it back. Now let's add the challenge. So if you can achieve this light, you can achieve this. It's just a folding up of the leg, but the hips stay as they are. Teacup, this relationship, there's not a pulling up. There's a soft switch, change. Let that left foot just gently float out and then just fold it up. So it's really the emptying of this hip rather than thinking of like pulling something up with force. It's actually just emptying, and let this be so loose that it just folds up like an easy folding chair. And flowing version, whichever you want to do, toe touch or lifted leg. Foot comes down empty. Change the weight, hands change, and leg. Foot goes all the way down empty. Shift, change hands, change leg, or lift leg. Set it down empty, nothing changes. Notice I didn't put my weight in the leg, but it's down there. Change. So that's as important as this is this, without falling into it. Change. Change. And feet parallel, wash your paws. Play with clouds. Left hand vapors, rises, becomes a cloud. Shift and turn and cloud, lake, vapor, rain. Cloud, lake, vapor, rain. So you know the movement. Place the work on the liquid, on the chi. Find the stillness underlying it that is undisturbed. Even though outwardly we're changing everything. Everything's changing on the outside here. But somewhere inside, nothing. And it's that inside stillness that unlocks what Tai Chi has to offer. Add to this, bringing the empty leg in, out, as the hands change. empty leg, in, out, as the hands change, and then we come back across. In, out, change. In, out, change. Like a wave, like water, just eases through the space. Light, loose, easy. And parting or stroking wild horse's mane, make a ball. I'm going to come up close and we'll just do the arms for a moment. Bottom hand goes away from the body, travels up to this front corner. Bring it back. Top hand does the opposite, a complementary opposite. Come back. Again, as you do that, shift and go into your left leg. Now turn right palm out, left palm up. I maybe said that backwards, but anyway, you get it. This hand down, this hand up. Shift back to that right leg as left hand comes under, right hand falls over, and notice we're turning slightly this way. And then again, wild horse's mane as you shift and turn. Turn those palms, embrace the moon. And let this be satisfyingly complete. All the way to the tips of the fingers. Not like you're reaching and coming out of your middle. You're not destabilizing, but you're letting the movements really go the long way around. And initially that's key because we're trying to open up the spaces between everything. One more. Now stay over here, in your left leg, bring right hand across and under, fold over the top. Now let's do just the arms on this side. Bottom hand goes around and up. So retrace that. Top hand does a complementary diagonal down and away. And they come back. And you got to inhabit both limbs simultaneously. Now as you go, shift and turn slightly. Turn right palm out, left palm up, embracing the moon. Shift, turn. Stroke wild horse's mane. And embrace the moon. Same point about the middle. The middle, it's kind of like I always think when I'm doing these movements, must be how a galaxy feels, in the sense that there's like a center to that galaxy that's still, and yet all this orbiting activity going on around it. So get that feeling of loose and yet still related, and you're never losing your middle, regardless of where you're at. Last one. Now we'll do a few more where we change like this each time. So scoop under, drop over, and wild horse's mane. Stay over here, regather, and wild horse's mane. Regather, wild horse mane. Gather, wild horses. One more of each. Everything's looking really good from my vantage point. You guys are looking like you're finding middle, and yet you're moving free, you're moving loose. Right? Make the ball. Hands come down. Now this one's kind of new-ish. I think we did this last week. So once again, turn the feet slightly out. And let's do just the foot. It's the same thing here, touching. Back, shift, touch. Back, shift. Now, the difference is, it's called white crane. The hands One hand comes up like you're blocking the sun from your eyes. The other hand comes down and turns slightly out, and I'll turn sideways so you can see this hand is in front of the body. It's not back here, it's in front. And so then switch those hands, turn them to face each other. They pass by each other and they arrive in those two places. Boom. So palms are facing up and down very clearly here, but then by the time they get here, this one turns to face kind of out at an angle. This one turns out to face away from the body. Pass by. Pass by. Now, as we go into this position, shift the weight to that right leg. Left foot touches the floor out in front. Bring the foot back as you turn palms to face each other. Shift. The hands change, 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 change. And everything arrives with a bell. Ding! All on time. Bring the foot back. Hands turn to face each other. Shift. The hands pass, 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 pass. Arrive. Back. Change. Again, there's palm, one facing up, one facing down. So there's this pass, and then a little flip of the palm at the top, and a little turn out at the bottom. Palms face each other. They pass. White crane. One additional challenge. Right now, we're doing this and keeping our navel and toe pointing straight ahead. On this one, turn so that you then are relating slightly to the corner. To the corner. So if your right hand is low, you should be facing the right. Karen, it looks like you're facing the wrong way. So we're turning out at the left hip and relating to that corner. Parallel or a square and out. Middle, corner. Middle, corner. So whichever the foot is that's empty and stepping out, that's the corner you're turning to. So Janona, it looks like you're doing that backwards. So if you're there, you should be pointing to this corner. So you're pointing to this corner, right? This corner. That way. There you go. But the hands were right. The hands were correct. Left hand up, right hand down, right foot out, that corner. Then down, turn slightly, just a little turn, relate to that corner. Middle, white crane. Middle, white crane. Middle. And again, it's the corner, not the side. So it doesn't have to be much. It can just be a degree. But it makes a big difference when you turn 1 degree. Suddenly you're really relating, but you don't want to crank it and try to turn to face the side of the room. It's just a little corner. And back. Corner. Back. Final one. Corner. Middle, parallel feet. Sing Chi wash organ. Through the courtyard. Middle. When you rock back, the middle stays a little forward. When you rock forward, there's a part of you that stays a little bit back. When you rock back, that middle part of you stays a little forward, all just creating a counterbalance. Middle, courtyard, through. When you rock back, there's a part of you that kind of stays forward. Forward is a part that stays a little back. Back part stays a little forward. Middle. Through. Shogun, closing. Let everything settle. Seal. Hands on the inguinal groin area, just on either side of the crotch area. That place gets congested. Then come up onto the front hip creases, the hip flexors. Then come around the hips to the tail. Love handle, sacrum, lumbar. Flip the hands and make little fists up and down. Then thumbs on the inside of the thigh. Middle fingers gently squeeze the outside. So it's like you're squeezing your thigh very gently. Dredge the channels down just to the knee. And then over the knee and dredge either side of your shin. Come around to the inside of the leg and just softly come up. And again. And dredge. One more. Dredge. Dredge. Up the outer arm. Turn. Down the inner. Same arm. About 5 times. Up all the way over the shoulder, naturally curls around, comes down the inside. Resetting the natural flow of the channels. Other arm. Seal. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.